The record, the hype, the ranking, the whole deal. What's this like for you? What's this like for the program?
Well, it's a lot of fun. I've always compared it to like a homecoming dance, right? So everybody, picks out the streamers, picks out their dresses and suits, and gets the punch ready and decorates the gym. But the football's coach's job and football player's job is to win games, right? And so that's what we've really been focusing on. But it's wonderful for our community. We have 150,000 people within about a 6-mile radius of Kalamazoo. It's a pretty big area. And former players, former Broncos, current Broncos, obviously, future Broncos, it's huge for. And, it's an amazing high philanthropy type university and community. And everybody's loving it. Everybody's enjoying it. Just puts that much more pressure on the football team and football coach, which that's what we wanted. We wanted to create pressure, and we found a way to do that.
One of my favorite stories, there's a lot of them out there. You're almost like an urban legend that keeps growing and growing, and you start hearing about these things. But my favorite part was that you actually put on the pads. Like, you got out there and you did some drills with the players. Like, what was the thinking behind that, and how did it go?
Look, you've got so many days with these guys now, right? I mean, you see them all the time these days. So you've got to find new ways to keep their attention. I mean, they're still 18 to 22-year-old kids, right? And they've got a lot going on in their life. It's the dog days of training camp. We were going to give a scholarship out that day, and I wanted to create a diversion of how we were going to be able to do that. So me coming out with football pads and introducing a new uniform, that was a complete diversion, because no way would he have 4 or 5 things stacked up with this thing. So then I decided to somehow, that was almost spontaneous, do an Oklahoma drill with a kid. But I picked out the kid that was the same size as me,
right,
just in case that he actually went full go, which he did. But I did not tell my wife about that one. She was watching. So how did
it go down? Like, and what's your philosophy? Because if you take him down, it might make him look bad, but you don't want to get trucked either. Like, what's going through your mind at that moment?
If I actually scored, it would have been worse for everybody, right? Because then everybody doubts the talent level, right? But if I don't score, everybody doesn't want Coach Fleck to score. Everybody's going to go nuts.
Right.
So no matter what, even if he missed the tackle, I was going to trip over my shoelaces. I was going to become an inch short. I was going to Tennessee tighten it, just a little short. But that was kind of the day that we had. And he's a well-deserving kid. Casey Carson's his name. And then, obviously, Rocky Balboa gave him the scholarship on Sylvester Stallone. I mean, Rocky Balboa like he's a real person. But Sylvester Stallone gave him the scholarship on the video board.
Yep.
P.J. Fleck, head coach of number 20, Western Michigan, in studio with us. Here's the scenario. You are this hot coaching commodity. You have an article I'm reading this morning. Boosters trying to scramble, find any way to get an extension, get you more money. How do you handle being loyal to a place that loves you so much and you've had this success, knowing that really the end game in this profession is to be in charge of one of these elite programs?
Well, the biggest thing is Western Michigan University, my players, my staff, our community of Kalamazoo get 100% of me, everything I have, every single minute of the day. And that's all I can do every single day. That's all I can do. And that's all I can ask of myself. And that's all my players can ask of me. And I demand that back from our players. And that is the only focus we have. We got a really good Ball State team that we have to play, and we're going out to Muncie on next Tuesday, and we're looking forward to it. But we've got to be the best we possibly can be. But the energy and the directed energy of that is towards them, period.
So Purdue's out.
The speculation and rumors.
I had to do something.
The speculation and I tell you what, if I believed every rumor and speculation that was ever about me,
like, who were you impersonating on that answer? Because you nailed it.
When you get those questions, it's one thing to get it from the media, but do your players ever come up and say, "Hey, coach, what do you think you'll do?"
No, I actually met with our leadership council the other day, and we actually talked about it. I said, guys, what are you hearing out there? I just always want to be here for a sounding board. I want to know. You can ask me any question that's out there, and I'm going to be very real and honest with you. And I'm just very excited that Western Michigan really wants me there and has proved that last year when this happened again last year. And it's obviously happening again this year, but it's wonderful exposure for Kalamazoo. It's wonderful exposure for Western Michigan University, not only just the football program, but our student body, our band, our alumni. This is what college football is all about. The exposure of this nationwide, and from a program that's never beat a top 25 team until last year, never been ranked ever in the history of their program. With all due respect, there's been 40 nevers in the last year and a half that have happened at Western Michigan, and it deserves a lot of credit. The school deserves a lot of credit, and this is why I'm here, to bring awareness and bring national exposure to Western Michigan University, because they deserve it.
Your pregame speeches are becoming even more legendary with each passing week. I mean, they just game day did a whole feature on them, and one of your speeches was in there. Have you ever had one where after the fact you're like, man, that didn't get it? Like, that fell short?
I don't. Everyone that we lost.
That you didn't get right.
All of year one.
That was like a question I would ask.
No, because they're so good. Like, they're so great. But I'm wondering from your perspective, was there one that you were like, oh, man, that one just didn't hit home?
Well, there were 11 year one. There were 11 of them.
So that's what they're based on, the results then.
Well, somewhat. You always want to see how your players play. Whether you get the W or the L, how did they play? Did they actually do what you wanted them to do? Because our pregame speeches all come from a week of basically a vision and a process throughout the entire week, and it just builds up, and then at the pregame speech, you kind of do a synopsis of all things you learned throughout the week, and you want to pull at their heartstrings a little bit, but mine don't last more than 30 to 45 seconds. We get in there and we get out and we go.
Do your players believe you when you say you were on the Niners practice squad?
It took a lot of convincing. I mean, if they saw the video, I mean, they probably sit there and go, "No way."
Did you start a fight with a starter during practice?
It was not a fight. It was not a fight per se. He completely knocked me out. I was.
Who was it?
Jamie Winborn.
Okay.
The linebacker from Vanderbilt. And I remember, how about this story? I remember it was an XY mesh, and I was coming across, and of course, I was on the practice squad, and everybody wanted to hit me because I was the guy that on scout team punt block would block every punt and make the starter,
and Erickson loved
Jeff
you.
Ulbrich looked really
Erickson
bad.
Was raving about you the first practice. I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah, that was, and I think he even called me by PJ Flack or something. It was just one of those things. And but I came across an XY mesh, and Jamie Winborn we were probably in shells, not even shells, maybe spiders. Cold cocked me, and I was out. I was out on the ground. It was so embarrassing because I was told by Jeff Ulbrich, don't ever get hurt or you're going to be gone, just so you know. So I practiced with every injury possible. Well, I am knocked out cold. I wake up. I get taken to Stanford Hospital. They're doing all these tests on me, and I look up, and I'm saying, this is so embarrassing. I have to get back to practice or I'm going to be cut. Like, that's how I thought the league was, which it kind of is. And I look up, and Mike Nolan's wife's right there, first one to the hospital. I'm like, how bad is this thing? Next thing you know, I'm back at practice the next day, which was good and bad. They're like, dude, you're on the ground, an ambulance comes, and you're back at practice. So then they look like you're not tough, but then you're back at practice, so you're pretty tough. So I didn't know how they were thinking of me at that point. But
just think we might have to can't run that part now with the climate around football. It's a good story 10 years ago. Now it's a bad story. Thank you so much, man. It's a lot of fun sitting here talking with you, getting to meet you, all right?
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Keep rowing the boat. Thanks a lot.
Keep rowing. We got to come up with an out tag for KANELL.
Yeah,
Western Michigan is blimp-worthy, brought to you by Goodyear.